Welcome everyone back to Wrestling with Politics. I'm your host Joel Perez, and it is my honor to once again be joining you guys back on the Wrestling with Politics YouTube channel. And today we're going to be discussing what's probably going to be one of the most important news stories, one of the most important decisions that the current president of the United States, Donald Trump, this is one of the biggest things that he can do probably in his entire presidency, because yesterday Donald Trump, he just met with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, in attempts to possibly pursue a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. And as you all know, on this channel, we've been advocating for an end of that war between Russia and Ukraine for a very long time. Hundreds of billions of US taxpayer dollars, a familiar story, but more taxpayer dollars have been sent to a foreign country to fight a foreign war to fund the military industrial complex. And of course, those are goals that are goals directly of the deep state. This has nothing to do with the interests of the American people. This has nothing to do with making America a better place, but yet it has been one of the top foreign policy goals of the United States military industrial complex, of the US deep state. It's been one of their top goals to make sure that this war continues and that there's no end in sight between Russia and Ukraine. And of course, as we all know, the end, if this war continues, is not just shooting each other back and forth. It's not just boots on the ground. It's not just drone strikes. The way this war ends is World War III. And so that's why it's more important than ever that this war do come to an end, because if we continue to escalate tensions with a nuclear armed power like Russia, we already know that's not going to end well for either party. And so that's why this is one of the best moves of the Donald Trump administration, trying to secure some type of peace deal with Russia. But for me personally, I remember what Donald Trump said on the campaign trail. He said that he would end this war with Russia and Ukraine on the first day of his presidency.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It will be settled quickly. I will get the problem solved, and I will get it solved in rapid order. And it will take me no longer than one day.
We're about 6 to 8 months, I'm not sure how long, into the Donald Trump presidency now, and the war still hasn't come to an end. We're still looking for some end to a conflict. And even after the meeting with Putin yesterday, Donald Trump said that no concrete deal has been reached. So I'm left wondering, how much longer are the negotiations going to go before we do end up with a peace deal with Russia and Ukraine? Because this needs to happen. This war cannot continue. Ukraine has been losing this war horribly. Over 300,000 Ukrainians, I believe, have died. Hundreds of thousands of Russians as well. This war has been bloody. It's been horrible for everybody, and it's impacted the world economy. And so that's why it's in everybody's interest that this war do come to an end. It's in the interest of the Russians. It's in the interest of the Ukrainians. And most importantly, it should be in your interest as an American, because once again, this country cannot stop sending our taxpayer dollars to anywhere except America. It's not going to solve homelessness. It's not going to solve any problems that are going on in the United States. It's not going to fund your children's education. It's not going to fund police. It's not bridges. It's not hospitals. Nothing in the United States is being funded. But when it comes to going to send missiles overseas to blow up little kids, we have the money for that. Nobody's wondering how we're going to pay for it when it comes to that. The money is always there. But that needs to come to an end. And hopefully with this meeting with Putin, we're closer to getting to that end. Because if you listen to Vladimir Putin, and that's not something that the American people very regularly get the chance to do. But if you do go back and watch this meeting between Trump and Putin, and you go do listen to what Putin had to say, you'll realize that Putin, he's not the horrible villain that the mainstream media and the American news outlets, he's not as horrible as they would make it seem. Putin is actually very reasonable. And the entire time that he was in this meeting with Trump, he was expressing, imploring his interest in pursuing peace.
Moreover, we've always considered the Ukrainian nation, and I've said it multiple times, a brotherly nation, however strange it may sound in these conditions. We have the same roots, and everything that's happening is a tragedy for us and terrible wound. Therefore, the country is sincerely interested in putting an end to it. At the same time, we're convinced that in order to make the settlement lasting and long-term, we need to eliminate all the primary roots, the primary causes of that conflict. And we've said it multiple times, to consider all legitimate concerns of Russia and to reinstate a just balance of security in Europe and in the world on the whole. And I agree with President Trump, as he has said today, that naturally the security of Ukraine should be ensured as well. Naturally, we are prepared to work on that. I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works.
So that's something that you would never hear on the mainstream media. That's something that you would never hear on American TV, that the president of Russia is actually interested in pursuing peace. They tell you that he's Hitler, he's a dictator, and he's only interested in authoritarianism. But if you listen to Putin speak, it turns out it's a complete lie. Putin is looking for peace. He doesn't want to continue this conflict, or at least that's what he says when he's standing in front of Donald Trump. He was looking for a way to end this conflict too. But it seems that the crossroads here is that Russia has its own red lines and they have their own demands, that if they don't get those demands, they're not going to agree to a peace deal. And the same thing goes for Ukraine and the United States, which we've been backing Ukraine during this entire conflict. For those unfamiliar with what's been going on here, we've been funding Ukraine to the tunes of hundreds of billions of dollars, and we've been allowing them to continue this war against Russia. And I just wanted to add this one point as well that's very important, and that's this. It's the fact that the interest here, I say that perhaps it's in the interest of everybody to end this war. It's in the interest of regular people, regular Americans. It's in the interest of regular Ukrainians, of regular Russians, that's for sure. But when it comes to the most powerful people in the world, their interests are all aligned. And their interests are all aligned to keep this war going. There's some very powerful forces at play here. And I've been mentioning them throughout this video: the military-industrial complex, the deep state. These are very real things. And there's a lot of people, a lot of powerful corporations that are making money and profiting off of the death and the continuation of death and destruction of these wars that kill hundreds of thousands of people. They're making money off of this. They're making money off of the weapons. They're making money off of the missiles. They're making money off of every single instance, and it's flowing not back into Ukraine. It's flowing right back into the hands of military industrial complex contractors, companies like Raytheon and Boeing. It's coming right back into their hands, and it's enriching the top 1% of this country. That's why this war is continuing, because it's lining their pocketbooks. It's making them richer. And that's what we need to realize here. And that's why we can't be fooled when we see Trump and Putin right here promising peace and saying all of these wonderful things, because it might sound good and it might be a nice act to make people believe that maybe we're getting somewhere. But at the end of the day, if there's no peace deal, well, then at the end of the day, this could all just be another act just to prolong this war and to keep things going. Who knows if things fall through? Who knows what Trump's real intentions are here? Because, like I said, if they wanted to deliver a peace deal, why couldn't this have been done on the first day of his administration? Why are we sitting here at 8 months in, still trying to hammer out a deal? It seems like Donald Trump might be part of the forces. I hope not, but he might be part of the forces that are trying to prolong this war. Once again, I implore, that's why it's so important that this conflict come to an end. And if it does come to an end, let me tell you, that will be one of the best decisions of the entire Trump administration. If you want to talk about Donald Trump's legacy, which is something that Donald Trump probably cares about at this point. He's in his last 4 years. Would be his last term as president. And if he wants to leave any type of legacy behind, this would be a decision. This would probably be the biggest decision that Donald Trump could make to define his legacy as one of a peacetime president, of one as a president that actually got things done. So that's why the main question remains to be, what does Donald Trump want his legacy to be? Does he want his legacy to be that of a president who went along with the deep state, who went along with the Zionist lobby, who went along with the military-industrial complex and the New World Order? Does he want his legacy to be that of a president who bombed Iran, who broke all of his promises and refused to release the Epstein files? Or does he want his legacy to be that of a president who actually changed things, who actually delivered on his promises, and who actually created peace and made America a better place? And like he says, quite literally, somebody who made America great again. What's it gonna be, Donald Trump? Are you gonna sell the bag like you have been doing for a lot of this presidency so far? Or are you finally gonna deliver on one of your key promises? Because as far as I'm concerned, like I said before, you promised to end this war between Russia and Ukraine on day one. Donald Trump, you can play back the clip. He said that he would end this war if he were president on the very first day of his administration. It's been 8 months now, Mr. Trump. What's it going to be? Are we going to get to the table? Are we going to force Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, to finally come to a peace deal? Because Putin seems to be ready. Zelensky, the last time we saw him in a meeting with Donald Trump, he was arguing back and forth. He didn't seem to want to do it. Well, guess what? He's going to have to, because this war cannot continue. For the goodness of Ukraine, Ukrainians are dying by the tens of thousands. Hundreds of Ukrainians are dying every single day. Same things with Russians. And again, with the US taxpayer dollars, our dollars are going to fund this death and destruction. When you pay your taxes to the United States, they're going to fund the death and destruction of not just this country, but other countries around the world. Our taxpayer dollars need to be stopped being used for this level of crimes and corruption. This cannot continue. It needs to come to an end today. And Donald Trump, he has the power to do that right now. He has the power to get on the phone, make those phone calls, make those decisions. And until he does do that, we're going to keep calling him out, and we're going to keep blasting on him at 200 miles per hour, because this needs to get done for the goodness of not just the United States, but to preserve any type of integrity that Donald Trump still has left. If Donald Trump still claims to somehow be a peacetime president, still claims to be a president who's going to get things done, I don't believe any of that crap, to be quite frank with you, anymore. But if Donald Trump truly claims that that's what he is, he at least needs to deliver on this to have some sort of legitimacy left in the tank. If not, I'm completely done with Donald Trump. And the next video, you'll probably see me talking about why Donald Trump is the biggest sellout, the biggest con man, and one of the most ineffective presidents I've ever seen in my lifetime. What's it going to be, Donald Trump? The ball's in your court. We saw the meeting with Putin. We know where Putin's at. Now it's time for the United States to bring this home and secure a peace deal and make the world, for once, a better place. For once, let us report on some good news. For once, please. But for now, that's all I've got to say about this topic. It's a loaded video here today. We've got tons more videos coming on the Wrestling with Politics YouTube channel. So many ideas for what to talk about. And hopefully with this new format, we're going to be pumping out these videos a lot quicker. For everybody who's been watching and for everybody who's joining us back, the Wrestling with Politics YouTube channel, we are back. We are live. We are not going to stop We're going, like I said in the last video, 200 miles per hour at this point, and we're going to call out all of the corruption of the deep state, of the Trump presidency, of the Democrats, whoever the hell is standing in the way of the agenda of the American people. You're going to get it. So if you want to give it to them with me, make sure you stick along with Wrestling with Politics, because this is where the ride is at. You can't get coverage like this anywhere else. So to stay along with this coverage, make sure you like, make sure you comment, and make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you next time right here